Air is the only fuel used in uh, airplanes. It may not be true in some teeny little tiny little airplane from a long time ago. Maybe. But in every other airplane, there is no liquid fuel. It would never get off the ground. Look at those big jets that carry, a couple hundred people or whatever. Okay, they're supposed to have like 10 giant tanker loads of fuel on them. Okay, if you look at a 18 wheeler, look at all the wheels on that. They need all those super thick tread, tires to carry around liquid. Okay, and there's so that's whatever. Let's call it a dozen wheels on a tractor trailer. I don't know exactly how many, 10 or whatever. There are a lot of wheels depending on which one, right? And there's supposed to be 10 of them. So there should be 120 giant wheels on every large jet. How many do they have? 6 or 8, less than a tractor trailer. So there's no fuel in there. Why, if you got on an airplane, if they could supposedly carry 100, like thousands and thousands of tons of liquid fuel, right? Why do they care if how much your bag weighs? It's a joke, right? And you go to an airport, you watch them start an engine, right? If they do anything, right? If they do anything, they connect under the wing, under a liquid like under the wing. You pour it in a car from a bus so it doesn't leak out. Anyway, they attach under the wing, and they attach an air compressor, which is just enough to start that engine, which funnels the air in, and through that and harmonics, blasts the air up the back end. Okay, if you had liquid in a plane, what would happen if you went like this or this? You'd be the liquid would be sloshing around, and it'd overcome itself. Go watch a video of like a cruise liner, and they hit waves, and they have one of them little pools that you can swim in the top. The pools are whoosh, whoosh. The water's going everywhere, just from some waves. And these planes are banking like this. They're going up. You don't feel any sloshing in there. Plus, if you look at the wings of a plane when they're operating, right? The flaps come up this way, the bottom ones come this way. You can see the wings. They're empty. They have the hydraulics in there, the mechanics. So there's no liquid fuel in an airplane. Okay, that's not how turbines work. All right? So, of course, this technology is not just limited to airplanes. Also, all helicopters run without a liquid fuel. All trains, they say, oh, it's diesel. No, it's not diesel. It runs on air. The newer buses running on air. Public buses running on air. All ships, they have turbine engines running on air as the only fuel. Okay? Let's take it further, of course. Almost all electricity now, or possibly ever, is created from the same turbine engines. The only fuel for these turbine engines is air. So they're creating electricity that you're paying for, and they're using air as a fuel. Now, I'm not saying there isn't infrastructure with these things. There's rail line you got to put down for trains. You got to, build these super amazing technological feats, airplanes, and so on with these. And electricity has lines and so on. Like, this infrastructure does cost money, but once in place, there's very, very, very little cost to operate it. With the exception of, you have a giant storm, you got to go out and fix the lines, there's regular maintenance and so on. But this whole thing about that it's super expensive to operate because, the fuel costs and all that nonsense, 100% fake. I mean, come on. You've got to investigate the truth. Okay, you got to accept the truth. The rest you reject. Okay, go look into this. You know, airplane fuel is a hoax. You know, airplane. I mean, they're telling you. Okay, accept truth. The path to God is through truth.